As you can see here, we have 3 Chevy Classics from 3 different generations. A 1995 Z28 Camaro. Over here, we've got one of these late 70s Mullet machines. And of course, last but not least, a 1966 Chevrolet Impala. Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Earl's Classic Cars, where today we're doing another drive-by junkyard special, which happens to also be one of our neighborhood classic car specials. Why, you ask? Because the junkyard is in the neighborhood, my neighborhood. So we're going to head on over there, meet the owner of this car. In fact, it's a triple play junkyard special because we got 3 classics for you today. Okay guys, after that long, arduous ride of approximately 2/10 of a mile, we've made it to this triple drive-by junkyard edition. As you can see here, we have 3 Chevy Classics from 3 different generations. Of course, we're going to save the oldest one for last. We're going to start out with the new one right here, and this one is a 1995 Z28 Camaro. Talked to the owner of these cars, and he bought this car brand new in 1995. And he's still the original owner today. And he drove it right up until about 3 or 4 years ago when he had about 200,000 miles on it and the water pump went out. Anyone who knows these 1990s Camaros, it has an LT1 350 5.7 in it. And he said the water pump went out on it one night late when he was at a car event down in southwestern Tennessee, south middle Western Tennessee, and he hasn't had a chance to work on it since then. The owner of these 3 cars has had some health problems, and he just hasn't been able to get to them. So this car has been sitting here. He said that in addition to the water pump, because it got overheated, it cracked one of the heads. So there's a little bit of work there to do. But until then, he said this was a pretty reliable car. He did mention to me actually at one point that he was having trouble with it back when it was new. It kept cutting out on him, and he got so mad one time that he took the car back to the dealership, drove it right into the showroom, and told the showroom manager that he did not want this car back until the service manager drove this car and it actually quit on him. So I guess you could say that was one of the early issues with some of the computers that were in these cars back in the day, and it was having a fuel shutoff problem or some sort of electronic malfunction, and he was not able to drive it reliably. In fact, his mother-in-law had moved in with them, and this became her car that she was driving, and it quit on her one time. So you can imagine how upset he was that he couldn't even let his mother-in-law drive it and it not quit on him. But after he got that fixed, like I said, he's had it since then, since it was brand new, and it has got approximately 200,000 miles on it. He's looking for the keys right now, but so unless he can find the keys, we won't be able to get inside of it and get a closer look at it. I'm trying my best here, but it's pretty difficult. It's not bad looking in there. Maybe we can try. Nope, not gonna be able to clean these windows off very good, but interior looks good. It's not ripped up. It's an automatic. Imagine it's a 700 R4, maybe 200 R4. And of course, we can't pop the hood if we can't get the car unlocked. But we'll see if he comes up with the keys. And if so, then we'll get a look under the hood of this one. So what do you think of this one? Do you think this one is restorable, or don't care for these 90s cars and trying to get them back on the road because they were kind of very common back then? Probably not one of the best looking Camaro body styles. I can remember I wasn't too sad to see these things go away after 2002. I'm a fan of the older Camaros, like the first gen, some of the second gens. I was never a fan of these third gen Camaros. But I know a lot of you are out there, so tell me the ones who really like these kind of cars. Would you restore this car, Would you part it out, or would you just let it sit here in this drive-by junkyard? For here, we've got one of these late 70s Mullet machines. Of course, back when these cars were new, I don't remember anybody ever driving around having a Mullet with these things. I think it was something when the Mullets came in style later and these cars were being hot rodded, that maybe those Southern boys were riding around and they did have mullets.
Oh, there's a pheasant! Oh!
Of course, I was up north when these cars were brand new, and that's why I say I don't remember anyone ever driving around with a mullet in these things. Of course, this F-body style car is very popular back in the 70s. Mostly the most well-known one, of course, is the F-body Pontiac Trans Am that the Bandit drove.
Does this thing move?
Oh, yeah.
These were very popular cars, still popular cars to this day. This particular one, the owner said was his brother's car, and he couldn't remember how he ended up with it, but it was his brother's car for the longest period of time, and it's in pretty rough shape, I have to say. Got the headliner out of it, got the headliner down so much that it's sitting on covering the dash and the steering wheel. Again, kind of hard to see in there with all this lichen stuff growing on it and dust and everything on the windshield. And this one happens to be locked too. Hopefully the owner will be able to find the keys for it and we can open her up and look at it. Of course, there's nothing to look at under the hood. He said right now there's nothing in there, but it originally either had a 305 or a 5.7. So we'll see. But what do you think about this one? I mean, this one overall, when I take a look at it, yeah, they've done something to put a, tell you, that's the price you pay when you get out here on these beautiful sunny Sundays and try to videotape these things. You get airplanes going by. Anyway, you can tell this one has been modified somewhat to put this hood scoop on it. And there wasn't a rivet they didn't like, I don't think. When I look at this thing, I don't see any rust down here in the quarter panels, not even on the lip. I'd say this one has got really good potential. Now, of course, you know, it's not going to be long for the bottom of these doors rust with this weather stripping gone and this window open here. But as far as I can tell, without opening the doors, the bottom of the car is pretty solid, I have to say. Again, I just don't see anything. The only thing I've seen so far is obviously there's a lot of growth on it and the grill broken out, but I think you could probably find a replacement for that pretty easily. Even the headlights are still looking good. So get over here on this side, you get a look underneath there. As you can see, no engine. But even the fender wells look good on it, at least on this side. And let's get a closer look here. Now, I'm telling you, I do not feel any holes, nothing smushy, nothing crunchy. This one would definitely be a solid candidate, I think, to get back on the road myself. Now, it would take some work, but overall, yeah, like I said, the door is still locked on this one. Still got the full spoiler on it. These plastic spoilers, fiberglass, whatever they're made out of. This one's in perfect shape, no cracks in it. Nothing wrong with it. And even the bumper. Again, you can sand that down. Get that one in good looking shape. Just tell me, what do you think? Stay in the drive-by junkyard? Part it out? Or maybe get a new hood for it? Restore this baby and put her on the road. And of course, last but not least, a 1966 Chevrolet Impala. No, not a super sport, but a super sporty looking car. This one's been modified a little bit over the years, as you can tell with the deeper dish wheels and stuff on it. And this one, we got to look at this one before we started recording, and I can tell you, other than the few spots of rust that I'm going to show you, this thing is in pretty darn good shape. In fact, out of all of them, of course, with it being a 60s classic muscle type car, I'd say this one is the one that I myself, if I had the money, would restore. But anyway, this thing came with a 327. According to the owner, it's got the hump heads on it. He said he didn't think it was the original engine, but if it's got those hump heads, it's certainly in the correct era. And 300 horse and a 350 turbo transmission. Got the Impala logo there still shining bright. And you look under here, again, very solid. No rust even along the trim lines. Don't see, that's not rust, that's just some lichen. Chrome still looking pretty good. Chevy bow tie still looking good. It's the only place where the chrome strip has popped off a little bit. But luckily for us, this one is open, and this is the one I wanted to see the most anyway. I don't know about the rest of you, but overall, looking really good. There's no rust here. Anyway, even down in here, a little rusty hinge. I'm telling you guys, this thing is a really good candidate. Look at that wooden steering wheel with the Chevy emblem on it. That thing is strong. I would say the only thing that kind of is out of place, obviously, are these aftermarket gauges, but it's what you did back in the day when they didn't come with those gauges. You hot rodded them, put the gauges in it, and of course you put the aftermarket tack, and you might put the Sony radio in it, or cassette. But I don't know if you notice, but this is an original AC car. Yes, sir. Look at that. Everything's a little, the pot metal's a little rough on it. And it came with a very rare option, heated floorboards. Gives new meaning to the word hot foot. Some things I'm sure you could find, put back together. Don't feel, we've had some rain recently. I do not feel any wetness in the floorboards. The floorboards are pretty strong. Seats are all still in nice shape. The only thing suffering, of course, is typical headliner. I don't know. I think maybe you could even get this headliner maybe put back up there, get another one in it for not much. That'd be the only thing. Maybe that and the deck lid back there, the long deck lid. You know, kids from the 60s love climbing up there when their dads and moms are driving down the road. I know I did that myself in our Volkswagen Beetles, back in that back area back there. Anyone had a Beetle knows what I'm talking about. But this one is looking strong. Now, the only places I'm seeing anything that would be a concern is right down here. Just a little bit. But again, quarter panel work, right? That could be done for a reasonable amount. You could maybe hack it up like DD Speed Shop, or work it like Puddin' in his fab shop. Get that stuff back together. But this thing is really, really looking good. Even the bumper can be brought back. Some steel wool, some chrome polish. Again, over here, the other place of concern. Got some rust coming through right there and right there. But when you look up in there, a little bit of surface rust on the fender wells, wheel wells. But overall, really looking good. Maybe starting to, no, I'm telling you, even under there, just in good shape. Getting a little bit concerning up here, maybe. Mirror still looking good. This guy worked on some heavy duty equipment. Look at the size of those wrenches. You could fix anything with those. Unfortunately, there's quite a bit of stuff in here, which makes it a little hard to get a closer look at the interior, but we're not going to disturb that. Just have to look at it as good as we can. Got a couple of cracks in the dash, but you could fill those in with Bondo and smooth it down and keep the original dash if you wanted to, or maybe get a replacement one of the aftermarket guys. But overall, this car has got a ton of potential. Look at the interior. Still looking good. Maybe the pot metal here needs to be replaced. But overall, little oil on the door hinges, door jambs. Still got the original wipers on it. Now, the other area of concern right here, little bubble through. But again, I think that's something that could be worked out. Looking pretty good in the wheel wells. So again, this one has been sitting here for about 3.5, 4 years. The owner has not been able to do anything with it. He got it about 15 years ago in a trade. Yes, a trade for a commercial lawnmower. Now, you know, those are pretty expensive, but think trading a lawnmower for a 66 Impala. That's quite a deal in my book. Chevrolet, USA #1. Let's take a look under the hood. All right, here we go. Look at this. Original AC system still in it. It's been upgraded to HEI ignition. Aftermarket carb. Aftermarket intake. We got the Chevy bow tie finned valve covers on it though. That looks pretty good. Still a single master pot for the brakes, so it doesn't have the dual braking system. So we put a little touch on there with a GM oil cap. Got the, looks like the original Y exhaust. I think those flow better, right, than some of the others. Got the original aluminum fan shroud, metal fan shroud, and the original radiator on it. It's seen its better days. I'm sure if you get this thing back on the road, maybe it'd work. But you'd probably be better off if you got a brand new radiator for it or a replacement. He said that someone came here and took the battery out of it, unfortunately. Of course, with it sitting here 3 or 4 years, the battery probably wouldn't have been worth much at this time anyway, but nobody likes having their stuff stolen. And of course, the weeds, they like to get in these cool spots too. I think one of the things I'm fascinated about looking at this thing sitting out here this amount of time is it doesn't look like the mice have gotten to it at all, which is really good to say. But overall, I'd say, yeah, this engine hasn't moved in a minute. Either it still has some real good compression or it might need some Marvel Mystery Oil or some secret sauce here to get it going again. But he said there was nothing wrong with it. He just, again, hasn't felt well in the past few years and hasn't been able to keep up with these classics. So what do you think? Which one would you want? The 66 Impala, the 78 Camaro, or the 95 Z28? Or would you want all three? Or should they be parted out or left here in this drive-by junkyard neighborhood classic car edition as well? Again, if I, being a left-handed golfer, wouldn't be easy, but literally from here, if I hit my 3-wood the right way, I could land it right in my yard. Maybe 2-putt for par. That's how far away this is. Literally not far away at all, as you can tell by the time lapse of getting here. But this has been sitting here, and I've been after this gentleman since last summer, knocking on his door to try to come over here and do this video. And lately, or last week, I was able to catch him at home. And he said, sure, come on out and do this. He didn't want to be on here, but Junior, I sure do appreciate you letting us come out here, take a look at these classic cars, and get them on video, and let everybody know you can find these things. And sometimes you don't have to go very far. In fact, sometimes all you have to do is go around the corner to find a neighborhood classic and a drive-by junkyard. If you like these videos, check out these other classic car videos here and subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell, share with your friends, and join us on our journey to find other drive-by junkyards and neighborhood classics. And stay tuned to see more from me, Earl with an E.